Hello my creative peeps, and welcome back to my channel for another video. So today we are doing the first part of the Q&A. I have your questions right here, but I know it's been a long time since we've actually journaled together on my channel, which is kind of why most of you guys are here. So I'm going to flip you around and we're going to journal a little bit while I answer your questions that don't require me showing things to you. So let me show you what we got going on. So I've got the tripod here all set up. I have your questions. I have my glue book journal, which is what I'm going to be working in. And then of course a few things to show you. My coffee and magazines to work in my book in. So, and I've also pulled out a couple washi tapes here to use while I'm gluing stuff in. I should probably pull out a glue stick as well. So let me do that and get you on the tripod and we'll start answering some questions. Okay, so I'm going to put the questions off to the side up there. I did not write down who asked each question, so I apologize, but we're just going to get into it. So the first couple I have things to show you for. So the first question is, what's your favorite pen? And do you have a specific pen for journaling versus planning? So I use lots of different pens for different things, but I'm just gonna go over some of my favorites at the moment real quick. Excuse me, already off to a terrible start. So my favorite pen of all time, like took all my notes in college with, oh my goodness, hold on, coffee. Okay, so took all of my notes in college with this pen. Have literally, since I discovered this pen, I've not stopped using it. It's been years and years. Apologies, my phone's going off. This is the Uniball Signo 207. I can't remember what nib point it is, but it's not like extra fine, but it's kind of the fine. It is a gel pen. I have never had any problems with this ink bleeding through anything. It's what I wrote all of your questions out with. It's such a reliable writer. It's always super black. Literally, you can use it until the last drop of ink is out of it. And they last a pretty long time, even with super heavy use. So I highly, highly recommend this pen. Any products I talk about, I'll leave linked in the description box below so you can go shop for them yourself. But yeah, you will not be disappointed by this pen. So mainly I use this one in my planner. I mean, it's a general use pen, but I use it in my planner so that it doesn't bleed through anything. Next, in my planner exclusively, I use these Papermate flares, and the reason I use those is to color coordinate my tasks here. So it's just a really easy way. I bought a certain like color theme pop. I think it's called Candy Shop Pop is the pack. Again, I'll leave it linked below. But I just use it to color code my different tasks so I know if I'm looking to work on work stuff, then this is Patreon, this is YouTube and Instagram, this is Etsy, and this is like my actual like, hey, you have a cleaning client job. And then anything in black is either like admin stuff I need to do or it's just personal stuff. So that's what I use there. And then I also use a lot of the Tombow brush pens. I change them out with, you know, whatever my color scheme is. But those are the pens I use in my planner. Now, in my bullet journal, I have started using a fountain pen. So I love the TWSBI Eco. This one was gifted to me for Christmas by one of my lovely creative peeps, so thank you. Again, but I've been using it since I got it. It has Lexington Gray ink in it, which I'd never tried. She sent me a sample, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, this is the pen that I have been using in my bullet journal. And then of course, to write in my actual journal, I use fountain pens because I love fountain pens, and that's just how I roll. So TWSBI Eco is obviously my favorite ever. I used to have 2 and now I have 3. So I have the black one, I have the special edition turquoise one, and then I have the new clear blue one. I have a fine, a medium, and a broad nib. So love my TWSBI Ecos. One of the reasons I love these, not only because 1, is it affordable, 2, I love how it sits in my hand, 3, it's a really reliable writer, and 4, I can leave ink in these things for freaking ever and the nib never dries out on me. Same with my Lamy Vista. I have other fountain pens where I've left the ink in it and not used the pen for several weeks or a couple months even, and it all dries up and clogs up the nib, and then it takes forever to clean it. These, I even have glitter ink in these, like shimmering inks, and I've never had a problem ever with this. So TWSBI Eco, I'll leave at least one of them linked below so you can check them out, but highly recommend them. And then this is just a fountain pen that I was gifted for Christmas from an old friend. This is, I believe it's a Dryden pen. I need to change the ink in it so that I start using it more, because I'm not into the ink that's in it right now. But those are my pens that I use for journaling. So yeah, I don't know if those are specific or not. Hopefully that answers your question. Now that I just spent 20 minutes talking about pens, let's move on to question number 2, which is, do you have a journal that's just for your art? So the easy answer to this is no, but kind of. I will leave linked in a card the video where I talked about all the journals I will be using for 2019. So that will kind of give you a rundown of the journals I have. But this journal I consider to be my sketching journal, so I guess that would be the closest to that. So it's just a B6 journal from Bree over at Documented Journey, and I really like it. I'm not super like into my art usually. I do like this one. I liked how he came out, but I usually end up covering up a lot of what I've done, like here, because I'm just not, I don't know, I'm not a confident drawer, I guess. But yeah, I just kind of, if I'm feeling like actually drawing, I'll either use this or I'll just use whatever, spare piece of paper or something. And that's about as far as that gets. So I think that's it for stuff I need to show you. So let's start journaling and we'll get into the rest of the questions. So question number 3, what's the best thing that happened to you in 2018? I was really trying hard to answer this question, but I don't really think I found a good answer for it. I don't think there's one awesome thing that like happened to me in 2018. But there are things that there are lessons that I learned and things that I did. I think I went through a lot of personal growth in 2018, kind of continued to just work on myself and being true to myself rather than to other people, and being more comfortable with who I am. I think I also worked on kind of not being so, trying to work on not ruling things out for myself, I guess you could say. Kind of, you only can't because you think you can't, but you can if you actually try, stuff like that. one of the best decisions I made for my business in 2018 was starting Patreon. That has been like, I'm so happy that I did that. That has been a game changer for me. So yeah, I mean, overall, 2018 definitely had its ups and definitely had its downs. I am not proud that I let myself burn out, but I did learn a lot from it, and I think that that's what matters. So again, not sure if that actually answered your question, but there's that. Question number 4, what types of videos do you enjoy doing and watching? So types of videos do I enjoy doing? The videos I enjoy doing are the ones I have to edit the least amount. Honestly, I love making videos for you guys, and I wish that I would spend like a billion years doing vlogs and like editing things all pretty, but I just really don't enjoy editing. I find it very time consuming. So even just like the basic things that I do. So yeah, that's my honest answer. I do enjoy doing journal with me's. However, sometimes it's hard because journaling is such a personal thing. I enjoy doing all kinds of videos. My favorite video to film is whatever I feel like filming that day, honestly. Like, that would be the best answer to that question, I think. And then my videos I enjoy watching the most, I watch lots of different videos. I really do. I love watching journal with me's. I love watching flip throughs of junk journals that people have made. Really enjoy those. I like watching Playing with me's. I enjoy chatty videos. I love setup videos. I love journal flip throughs. I do watch some fitness videos occasionally, so I like learning about nutrition and stuff like that. Occasionally I'll go through phases where I'll watch like cleaning videos or like lifestyle videos of some people that I like. But that's really, like I said, a phase thing. Most of the time I just really enjoy watching what other people are up to in their creative lives. And if I feel like I need a little motivation, planning videos are the best. Question number 5. I get this question a lot. What advice would you give to people trying to be somewhat successful on YouTube, Patreon, etc.? So, I have done a lot of, I haven't been on Patreon very long, but I've done a lot of research and watched a lot of content and took classes from people who have a Patreon or started a Patreon. And one of the things that most people talk about, especially with Patreon, is the fact that Patreon is not a good site to get discovered on. Patreon is a fantastic site to get support from people who already follow you. So if your main goal is to start a Patreon, I would suggest starting a YouTube channel instead. Instagram is also a great place to build a following if that is your preferred platform. However, either way, whether you're starting a YouTube or an Instagram, you need to be consistent. You need to have a focused site. So if you're going to do an Instagram, I would start an Instagram solely dedicated to what you plan on sharing. There's nothing wrong with mixing a little bit of your personal life in there. But if you want people to follow you for your art with the idea of creating a business out of it, I would definitely create a second account and post on a consistent basis. Now, where YouTube is that could be like once a week or twice a week or once every couple weeks, whatever floats your boat. But you definitely need to aim for consistency and have attractive thumbnails, basically. And thumbnails and title of your video are the things people find you for. So, yeah, just put yourself out there, be consistent, create a profile that's dedicated to what you want to share, and try to build your following before you start on Patreon. That's not to say some people can't make it just by starting with Patreon. I'm sure they can, but it's just a lot easier if you have a following first. And my last thing is be patient. Those first 100 people are the hardest to get, honestly. And like, I've been doing this for a couple years now, and I am at like 3,000 or something followers on YouTube. So yeah, that, and share things you like sharing. I mean, I could do a whole video on this, right? Like, maybe I will, but hopefully whatever I just rambled out of my mouth at that moment was helpful for you. This tape, oh my god, it's like the adhesive is like coming off, and it's like adhered to itself. And yeah, this is like a little mini magazine that I pulled out of a magazine. So it's like one of those like leaflet things, and I was hoping to pull it out all bound together so I could like just put it on my shelf to look at, but that did not work. So now I'm trying to just kind of reconstruct it in here. So that's what we're doing. And I'm doing this so that it's like more of a whole page. I have to turn my page of questions. Okay. Question number 6. Will you do a mermaid tail drawing tutorial? Another thing I've been asked a lot over the years. I honestly don't think I'm that great at drawing mermaid tails. Like, I can get the general picture, but they're really like not realistic or anything. They look kind of childish, but obviously others of you feel differently. So I will put it on my list of requests, but I will not promise that I will get to it anytime soon. I'd like to practice a little more, I guess. I'm not super good at tutorials. But I promise that I will put the idea on my ideas list and hopefully get to it at some point, whether that be on YouTube or Patreon or a mini class or whatever. Probably not a mini class, but okay. Question number 7, do you think you will ever create drawing collage sheets for your Patreon? And my answer is probably not. For the same reason that, you know, that drawing journal that I showed you, I started last April, April 2018, and I don't even have like 5 pages done in it. I'm just not somebody who... Drawing is not my favorite way to express myself in my journals. So when the mood hits, then I definitely draw. And I like doing that, but with my Patreon, I like to... It's more inspiring, I think, to share things that I enjoy doing. And I don't want to make my Patreon seem like a chore. So if I do happen to draw some things and I would like to share with my patrons, then I will do so. But for the most part, no, I don't think that I will incorporate any type of reoccurring drawn collage sheets like Courtney and a lot of other creators do, just because that's not it's not my main way of creating. It's not really my creative style. So, sorry if that's disappointing. But again, just trying to be real. And not be real aggravated with this washi tape. So, the people downstairs probably think I'm a fucking nut. Oops, that's gonna get flagged. Anyway. Question number 8. What are 2 of your goals for 2019? So you've probably already heard these because you may have watched my I've moved update for 2019 video, but one of my goals for 2019 is to create a class. Actually, my goal is to create more than one class, but right now I'm working on a small class, and my goal is to create a giant class on creative freedom, but I want to get my feet wet first and practice a little bit before I create a mega class on that. So that is one of my goals for 2019. One of my other goals is to still continue to try and find a balance between work and my personal life, especially when summer rolls around. I'm going to have to figure out how to adjust that because I will be going back to my housekeeping job in addition to my cleaning clients, and of course creating content here. So one of my goals is to continue to create some type of balance so that I don't burn out again. Basically, my goal is to not burn out in 2019, but still successfully produce content and make a more sustainable income off of doing what I love. Number 10, has your break from YouTube helped your slump? This is a good segue. Yes, it has. I would not say that my burnout definitely is not 100% better. Some days I don't feel burnt out at all, and other days I kind of slip back into it. But I'm definitely doing better and not putting pressure on myself to do 2 videos a week on YouTube or to specifically do creative weeks has definitely helped a lot. Having my creative freedom back on which videos I create on Saturday has done a lot for my slump. So that's the answer to that. Question number 11, what are your 2019 plans creatively on YouTube? I will leave linked the first video I did of this year because that's kind of where I talked about that, and I'm pretty sure that nothing that I said in that video has changed yet. So go ahead and look for the card and watch that video if you're curious about the answer to that question. So, this takes a lot, more time than I thought it would. Question 12, do you plan your pages or do you just set out supplies and go with it? Definitely just go with it. Sometimes when I sit down, or most of the time when I sit down, it's because I have something physical that I want to journal, like a photo or some ephemera or something, or it's because I sit down with the intention just to write my feelings out. But if we're talking about actually bringing a plan to a layout, I never sit down and go, this is the layout that I want to, when I'm done this journal page, this is what I want to look like. I never do that because I used to do that years and years ago, and the only thing that did was discourage me and make me upset because what I created never ever looked like what I had in my head. And yeah, so now I just journal. I just set stuff out and I do whatever I feel like doing, and usually the page isn't done and I come back to it and I do the same thing. I just continue on with going with the flow. Number 13, what planner are you using for 2019? And why did you switch from what you used last year? I actually did that video explaining what planner I had been using, why I switched, and what planner I'm using for 2019. So you can go check that video out. I'm done with this washi tape. It's so freaking annoying. So yeah, I will leave that linked in a card so you can go check that out. And I have it linked for you and stuff. So there's that. Question 14, is your calligraphy spontaneous or did you have to exercise to obtain it? I assume you're talking about my handwriting and did I have to practice? Because I don't do calligraphy. I do like fake calligraphy, which is like I write in my regular handwriting and then do drop shadows if I want something to look like I quote-unquote lettered it, because that is just not my strong suit. I'll show you an example of that right now, actually, so you know what I'm talking about. So like here, this is just my usual handwriting. What I do is I take a brush pen and I hold it sideways and I just write normally. And then I take this Tombow Funisuki brush pen and I do just drop shadows on my letters, and that's my lettering. If you're talking about just my handwriting, then yes and no. When I was in high school, I had a friend that also journaled, and we loved just like writing letters and writing stuff in our journal and copying down quotes, and we made like stuff to put in our binder, the front of our binders, for school and stuff like that. So while playing with all that stuff in high school, I tried a lot of different alphabets and just making, my handwriting used to be really small and then it used to be ginormous, and what I found was after playing around with that, I liked big handwriting, and I like doing my A's like this versus with the little thing at the top, and I tried different things for my eyes. And often you'll see in my handwriting, like if you read one of my letters, if you're one of my pen pals, you'll notice I write two different style letters in the same, sometimes even in the same word or the same sentence. So like I'll have two Y's that are different, like I'll have for example, I'll have in the same word a Y like this and a Y like this. Q's are another one. E's. No, not E's. I'm trying to think of what else I do differently. G's. So sometimes I'll do G or G or G. So it just, yeah. My handwriting is pretty permanent now. Like I don't try to play around with it, and how I write is pretty natural and second nature, but I did play around a lot with it in high school, and my handwriting now is just a product of all of that. So yeah, if you ever see me using different style letters in the same word, that's why. I don't do it on purpose, it's just natural in how it comes out now. Oh, W's is another one. Hold on. That's probably a good example. I I don't even know where that page was that I was, oh, there it is. So W or W. Yeah, so, you know, that's how that is. Almost done, one more page. So, question 15, how are you doing with your fitness planning? For those of you who may not know, last year I mean, I've always been into fitness and like nutrition, but I really started last year with a solid workout routine. I was working out pretty much 6 times a week, starting in January, and I did that until probably around April, and then I went to working out 4 times a week with a lifting program until probably about July or August, and then I totally fell off the wagon and have been really sporadic with it since. And one of my goals when fixing my burnout was to get back into working out and eating properly. So I haven't put myself on any like restrictive schedule because that's not good for my burnout recovery. But I am slowly getting back into it. I work out when I really feel like it, which is about every 4 days or so. And I'm doing lifting again, which is my favorite. So there's that. My nutrition has definitely improved. It's not perfect or exactly where it should be, but I am eating a lot better. So that's good. So long story short, it's going and it's going pretty well. It's not perfect, but I'm doing what I can, and I totally didn't realize that was going to happen until just now. So yeah. Should I just leave it like that? Maybe. So I got all this in here. That probably wasn't really interesting to watch at all. But there we go. So there's my little booklet in there. Some of these I'm not super fond of. Like, this freaks me out. Like, I don't like him. He's creepy looking. Not because he's separated, but just his face. Like, this one's not bad. And I do like the separation of the body, but I don't like that guy's face. And I don't like this one either. I really like that one. So I think, I don't know. It's all one artist, so maybe I won't cover it up. I don't know. I don't even know how long this video is. My foot is falling asleep though, I know that. 32 minutes, holy cannoli. Okay, well, 17 is my favorite number, so we'll do 2 more questions, and then we'll continue on with this next week. Or at least sometime soon, right? Because right now I have 38 questions and I'm only on question 15. So let's collect my brain for a second and figure out what things we want to glue in next. I do like that guy. I love this girl. That is cool. My foot is so asleep. It's coming back to life and it really freaking hurts. I just wanted to let you know. I was like sitting on my heels. I want to put this one in for sure. I love that photo. I'll show you why in a second. So the reason I love this one so much is because, see, there's this moment and she's like, these are all like heads on posts. And this guy is watching this woman, like, I don't know what she's doing with the body, but there's this body in the tub, but it's like, it's a model, like, it's a model scene made of like little figurines and stuff. Like, it's not a drawing and it's not like a film thing. It's like a little, I don't know. I have a sick mind, okay? I think it's cool. So anyway, question number 16. How do you keep your Patreon and YouTube audience informed? For example, who knows what, i.e. when you were moving, etc. So, for the most part, if it's like a general, you know, project that I'm working on, or, you know, stuff like that, Patreon will see it like a couple days before. Like on Lens, I'll show like a picture of me working on it, or if it's a big project, then Patreon gets to know first. My patrons knew I was moving before and while I was moving in, and then I shared it on YouTube once I had kind of, you know, actually like moved. And that was partly because of my burnout, but it's just because I feel a lot more safe, I guess you could say, sharing stuff on Patreon. It's a lot more intimate and personal environment, and I know that the people on Patreon aren't just random people on the internet being creepers. They're like people who actually like care about me and my content. So they do get some of the more private stuff, but for the most part, there's nothing like super big. There's no like secrets or anything that YouTube misses out on. It's just if you want to know things beforehand and get sneak peeks and stuff, then Patreon is the place that I share that stuff first. And they do see some journaling, obviously, that you guys don't see here on YouTube. Again, for privacy reasons. But yeah. So there's the answer to that question. And then the last question that we are going to answer today. What is question number 17? Going along with that, how did you decide to organize your office? So the main thing that I wanted like to keep in mind while I was organizing my office was that I wanted everything had to have a home, and it had to be accessible without having to move a ton of stuff. So if I had to move one cart out of the way to access something I don't access a lot, then that was totally cool. But I really wanted to keep everything accessible. I wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing. I wanted everything to have a space, and I wanted white IKEA-like furniture. I know that's silly, but I just really wanted a wall of shelves, and that's what I did. I got a bunch of cube shelves from Target that are like the IKEA knockoffs, and I put that up. Don't worry, there will be an office tour coming. That'll be like an updated organization video. So you're not like missing anything that's coming, but yeah. So that is the answer to that question. And I think that kind of concludes our journaling session for today. I'm going to put this here first. I don't really like this girl. I'm just going to say that now. I have one of these style like poncho things, and I just don't, she's not doing it for me. But I do like this over here. I don't know what I'll put there, but that'll be to figure out for another day. So, like I said, we will continue this Q&A at another time. If you had no idea for any reason that I was doing a Q&A and you'd like to ask a question, you can leave it in the comments below this video and I will add it to the list. But I do have quite a few already, so I would have to assume if you wanted to ask one, you got to submit it, but you could be new. Who knows? So, if you found this helpful, don't forget to check out the links and the videos in the cards above. Please give me a big old thumbs up if you enjoyed this. It really helps out my channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the next Q&A Journal With Me installments. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.